Guys, this is Jonathan Lambert with the Mathematics Development and Support Service at the National College of Ireland, and this short video, another video in our series on basic Excel, or Excel Basics, is going to deal with a very important function in Excel called the AND function. Okay. Now the AND function is what's known as a Boolean function. It takes two conditions, okay, and the function itself evaluates to one of two possible values. It either evaluates to false or it evaluates to true. And its evaluation is dependent on the two conditions that it takes. Actually, the AND function can take more than two conditions, but for this particular video, and from a logical understanding of how the AND function actually works, we'll just concentrate on two conditions. But this can be extended to actually more than two conditions. Okay? So what I actually have here is, I just have a data set, but before we get into the data set, let's just actually define how the AND function actually works. Okay, so let's say I have condition 1 and I have condition 2 here, okay, and listed under condition 1 and condition 2 are all possible states that condition 1 and condition 2 can be in simultaneously. So for example, we could have condition 1 being false. In other words, some condition hasn't been satisfied, and the second condition, condition 2, also being false. Okay, so that's a possible state pairing there for condition 1 and condition 2. We could have condition 1 being false and condition 2 being true. Okay, that's another possible pairing. We could have condition 1 being true and condition 2 being false. And finally, the last possible way that we could actually combine these two conditions, based off their truth values, is that condition 1 is true and condition 2 is also true. Okay. Now the way the AND function works, it's like a bouncer on the door of a nightclub. The bouncer has a set of rules that he needs to abide by, and actually the bouncer only lets people into the nightclub if a number of conditions are satisfied. For example, you might be only allowed into the nightclub if your age is greater than 20 years of age. That could be one condition. Okay, another condition might be that you're only allowed into the nightclub if you're wearing a suit. Okay, that's another condition, and there can be many other conditions. But let's say that we just have them two conditions. We have you're only allowed into the nightclub if your age is greater than 20. And you're also wearing a suit. Okay? Well, from an AND perspective, the bouncer should only let you into the nightclub if both of them conditions are satisfied. In other words, if you are over 20 years of age and if you are wearing a suit. In other words, condition 1 is true and condition 2 is true. The bouncer should let us into the nightclub. Okay? In all other situations, if I'm not over 20 years of age and I'm not wearing a suit, I should not be allowed into the nightclub. If I'm not over 20 years of age, but I just happen to be wearing a suit, I'm still not allowed into the nightclub because both conditions aren't satisfied. If I am over 20 years of age, but I don't have a suit on, okay, well, I shouldn't be allowed into the nightclub. So the important thing here is that the AND function only ever evaluates to true when both of the conditions associated with the function, okay, evaluate to true. Okay? Actually, if we extend this out to more than two conditions, the AND function only ever evaluates to true when all of the conditions are satisfied, when all of the conditions evaluate to true. Okay, so that's a bit of the logic behind how the Boolean AND function actually works. Okay, actually, technically, it's a function that works off propositions. A proposition being a statement that's either true or false. Okay, and based on the truth of them particular statements, evaluates another proposition that's either true or false as well. Okay, but the key thing to keep in mind is that the AND function only ever gives you true back when both of the conditions are true. Okay. So let's put it into practice here. Okay, so what I have here is I just have a small set of data here. Okay, the data is representative of, I suppose, we have students. Every student has a student number. Okay, every student has a name. Every student has an age, and every student has a number of visits associated with them. And let's make this a little bit more real. This is how many times this particular student visited the Maths Support Centre at the National College of Ireland, let's say, for argument's sake. Okay. And what I'm interested in initially is I'm interested in identifying, okay, out of this list of students, okay, which students have an age greater than 30 and have an age less than 35. Okay, so there's two conditions to be satisfied here. Now, I suppose we could use a COUNTIFs function here, but a COUNTIFs is going to actually tell us how many students are over the age of 30 and how many are less than 35. It's not actually going to tell us the actual students who have an age greater than 30 and an age less than 35. So let's do this. Let's evaluate this. So once again, like in all cases, to go into function mode in Excel, we hit equals. To apply the function, we write out the function name, its syntactic name, okay, which is called an AND. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put in AND, followed by an open round brace. And you can see the syntax actually pops up. It says print logical 1, followed by a comma, and then logical 2. So logical 1 is the first condition that we need to satisfy in order for the function to return true. Okay, and actually what I'd like to specify is that age has to be greater than 30. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this function here, the AND, is only going to evaluate the true if age, which is specified by the cell D4, if age is greater than 30. Okay, now I hit a comma now to go into logical statement 2, which is the second part of the AND, which is the second operand into the AND function. So the second operand says age should be less than 35. So what I'm going to do here is, well, age is specified in the D column, so I'm going to click on the first age if D4 is less than 35, and then I close off my round brace. So that's how you specify the AND function. You specify both conditions that are associated with it. So when I hit return on this, you can see I get true here. Because this person here, Jennifer Conroy, her age is greater than 30 and her age is less than 35. Okay, so if I want to apply that function to all of the students, okay, to test whether their age is greater than 30 and their age is less than 35, all I have to do is take this particular cell and drag it down to the end here, and it'll apply the function. Okay, so what we can actually see in this particular case is, actually, there's only two students, okay. Jennifer Conroy is true. Jennifer Conroy is over 30 and less than 35. And Christine Ward, whose age is 34, well, 34 is greater than 30 and is less than 35. Okay? Everybody else evaluates to false. So there's only two students in this student list that have an age greater than 30 and an age less than 35. Okay, you can actually see that Sarah Jones has an age 23. Now, that age is less than 35, but it's not greater than 30, so she doesn't satisfy condition 1, in which case it's going to return a false. Okay, let's do another example. Okay, let's say, well, in the last example we concentrated on a condition associated with a single variable, the age variable. Let's throw in two variables. Okay, so what I'm interested in, anybody who has an age less than 35 and the number of visits to the Math Support Centre was also less than 15. Okay, so to do that, I go into function mode by hitting the equals key, followed by the name of the function, followed by an open round brace, and I put in the first logical condition. And the first logical condition has to be age has to be less than 35. So I click on the age cell, and I specify that it must be less than 35. That's my first condition specified. That's condition 1 specified. Then I hit a comma, and you can see actually logical 2 is actually being highlighted here. So now I specify the second condition. And the second condition is that the number of visits needs to be less than 15. So what I do is I click on the number of visits cell, which is specified in the E column, and that must be less than 15. So I put in less than 15, followed by the open round brace, and I hit return. And I get true here for the first person. The first person has got an age less than 35 and the number of visits is less than 15. So let's actually apply that function down across all students by taking the function and actually scrolling down. Okay, so now you can actually see we've identified who in this list, okay, what students in this list have an age less than 35 and number of visits less than 15. You can actually see that this person here is false. Thomas Mark is false. Well, the reason being both conditions aren't satisfied, so it's a false. You can see that Mark Thomas's age is not less than 35, and also another reason why he's been highlighted as false is because his number of visits is not less than 15. Looking at somebody else here, let's say we look at James Ward as an example. Okay, so James Ward, he's been evaluated to be false because, well, his age is less than 35. So condition 1 is true. But condition 2 is not true. The number of visits is not less than 15. Okay, you can actually see we have a true false here, which should evaluate to false, which it does. Okay guys, once again, this was Jonathan Lambert with the Mathematics Development and Support Service at the National College of Ireland, and I hope this short video dealing with the Excel function and the Boolean and was in some way helpful and intuitive. And once again, thanks for your time.